Sunday, August 3rd. Time for a quick update. So I've been doing a little bit of a number of different things today and yesterday. One of them is painting. So let me show you the front of the Quonset hut. Move back out. Keep moving back out. Yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm doing this piecemeal because I'm trying to keep track of how many coats of paint I've put where. So I think I've got 2 coats of paint here, and now I think I have 2 coats of paint here, and 3 coats of paint up there. So I need another coat here and another coat here, and then I'll move on to these other sections. Yeah, I just got to keep it straight in my mind, and I'm losing track of things. So anyway, if I come inside, yesterday I was working on these beams, and I got the 2x4s mounted to the bottoms of these beams for the little roof above the garage. And then I caulked everything on those beams. So there was a little bit of daylight between this 2x4 on the bottom and the beam itself. I mean, I really screwed it together pretty good. I think there's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, about 16 screws in there that hold the 2x4 to the beam. And it was, there was still a little bit of daylight. So I decided, okay, let me just caulk all along the seams all the way around, because that's the perfect situation for water to wick in between the 2 boards and just stay there forever and eventually cause rot. So with the caulk, that should prevent it. I also, I've never done this before, but I also decided just to throw some caulk on the ends, all on the end grains. I used clear caulk. It goes on white, but I just wiped it on with my finger and smoothed it out. And I mean, you can't even see it, but if you touch it, you can tell that there's like a waxy feel to it. That should help just prevent water from getting in the end grains. I also did the same thing here. So all the end grains have been caulked. So hopefully, this is a weather-facing lumber. So hopefully that'll help in the long run. And just to recap here, the sheathing will run. This is the back of the building here. This is the top. So it'll just run up, down here, and then stick out about 3.5 inches. I'll put a screw in here, and then a screw in up at the top here, all along, just to hold the sheathing on. And again, it'll overlap, the 2 beams will overlap by about 3 or 4 inches. Okay, so enough about those. Then I did actually get these spanner boards up, but that did not go smoothly. One of the issues, I mean, this is just the reality of a building that's not exactly, perfect, but a couple of them, and I still have to fix them, needed me to cut out where the bolt was so it would fit. So there's an example of where I need to cut out around the bolt so the board sits flat. And I actually did one or 2 of them over here. I think this one, yeah, that one's already cut out, and that one's already cut out. So I just got to go along. There's a couple more that need to be done. It's because these squares, the mounting squares, just don't line up exactly. So no big deal. I'll get to that. And then over here, today I actually cut out the sheathing for the roof. This is the aluminum. So I cut it out of a 4x8 sheet. That's one of them. and then this is the other one. And I've started the process of painting this one here, over here. This is just the first coat on this one. And this one, unfortunately, it's got a big mess on the back. This was actually one of the sheets that was part of the big door that was mounted on the back here that would flip up like this. And somebody had made a mess with the painting. So I'll get a little paint stripper tomorrow, strip that off, and then I can paint the underside of this thing. So yeah, I've got 3 coats, both sides for this one and that one, and then they can be, installed with those, the beams. I may wait to put up the beams until like these sheets are ready, just so it can all go up together. But yeah, I'm getting there. So I used the aluminum cutting blade to cut these out. This is a circular saw. I got this blade off of Amazon. Heck, I think it was only like $16. And I got to tell you, it is far, far, far better using this than trying to cut the aluminum sheet with an angle grinder and a cutoff wheel. I mean, there is just no comparison whatsoever. This did a great job of cutting the aluminum. It really went through it like a hot knife through butter, no problems whatsoever. But here's the thing. If you're going to use a aluminum circular saw blade to cut aluminum sheet, you must use good eye protection. So I started out, I had hearing protection, I had gloves on, I had eye protection on, I had basically a good pair of clear glasses on, excuse me. And I started to cut, and within like 2 seconds, I realized, wait a minute, I need better eye protection, because the little particles were, popping up. They were hitting me in the face, and they were going up my nose. I mean, they were going everywhere. So I left the glasses on, and I just put a face shield on as well, and that solved the problem. So if you're going to use a metal cutting blade, definitely use good eye protection. Probably the best would be a face shield, or if you don't have that, a good pair of goggles that literally seal to your face so nothing can get into your eyes, because those little particles go everywhere. And I was cutting on the floor here, and the little metal particles, I was vacuuming. It must have taken me 40 minutes or so to vacuum this whole area, because they were going as far as like 10, 12 feet in every single direction around here. They just get everywhere. So if you're going to cut aluminum sheet, just be prepared to do a thorough cleaning around the area afterwards, because those little particles get everywhere. Also, while you're cutting, you will feel those particles hit your arm and other parts of your body, and they're hot, but they're not going to burn you. You feel it and you kind of go, ooh, that doesn't feel great. But it's almost like a sparkler. You might feel it, but it's not really going to burn you. It's just uncomfortable. So the best advice I can give you is that, get a good flat working area, prop it up onto something like a 2x4, and just the cut line should just be off the 2x4 by maybe like half an inch or quarter of an inch, so it supports it, and set your blade height to be, maybe like 3/4 of an inch, no more than that. So, you're not going to hit the floor underneath it. And if you do that, it will basically glide right through the aluminum. But, there's really, how do I explain this? There's not a lot of resistance when you're cutting through aluminum. However, the metal plate on the bottom of the circular saw does tend to stick a little bit to the aluminum sheathing, especially if it's dirty or, it's got some stuff on it. It will tend to hold you up a little bit, but it's not nearly doesn't take nearly as much pressure as it does going through wood. So that's a little bit surprising when you try it. So that's just my thoughts on cutting aluminum with a circular saw. Great finish cut. I mean, it came out really well. You can just by hand, if you mark it out really well, you can get a pretty nice straight line. But what I did afterwards was I bought this chisel on Amazon. I figured, okay, even though it's a good clean cut, it's still going to be sharp. So I use this chisel to smooth the edges over and to round the corners. I don't know if you can see this. Maybe that may not show up well, but I just rounded the corners so that handling the material, you're not worried about getting stabbed with a sharp corner. But then I found that, while this did a decent job, actually what was even better was just some 180 grit sandpaper all along the edge here. And that really smooths it out. So I probably spent 45 minutes to an hour just going over all the edges, and I can run my hand along here, and I'm not at all worried about, snagging on a little metal burr or, cutting myself with it. So yeah, it's good to take the time and just get the edges smooth because it just makes it so much easier to handle. So that's that. Tomorrow I'll get some paint stripper, get that off there, and I'll do the other side. And I'll start painting this one as well. I think that's it for now. Probably going to have some rain all this week, so I don't know how that's going to impact the schedule, but we'll see. It was supposed to rain all day today, and it was a little cloudy, but not so much with the rain. So I got away with one good day of being able to do some work and not having the rain that they say we're going to have. So, all right, that's it. Talk to you in the next one. Update for Wednesday, August 6th. Oh man, it's been humid. I've been sweating through 3 shirts a day. It's just so humid. It's not that hot. It's just humid and there's no breeze whatsoever. So it's like the jungles of Nam or something. I don't know. But this is what I've got done today. All right, I got the beams for the small roof over the garage door mounted. Let's just take a look from the side here. You can see that the sheet aluminum will come down from that point right there out to here, hang over maybe 3.5 inches, and I'll bolt it to each one of these outriggers as well as along the top of the beam. So that first one here, I call that the left one, that did not go smoothly, but it did go. So basically what I had to do, I learned from this one and did it on this one, was I needed to make the holes a little bit bigger just to give myself a little bit more wiggle room, and that seemed to work pretty well. So I just stepped it up one drill size. I drilled the holes in the beam and through the wall and through the aluminum one drill bit size bigger, and then the second one went up like hand in glove. So no big deal. And then I caulked all the way around them. And the aluminum sheathing, I have 3 coats of paint on each one of these. And they already have the holes drilled in them at the top, and then along the bottom where the outriggers are. The only holes I'll have to drill when I'm actually installing them is where they overlap. So I'll just do that in situ. But yeah, once this dries and that dries, that'll be ready to go up. That's probably tomorrow. The only thing is, the 3 coats I did on the back side of this, well, I probably flipped it over a little too soon because it kind of stuck to the cardboard and left a little bit of an impression of whatever the heck was here. So I'll give this another coat, one more coat, and then we should be good to go. So, and then the little roof over the garage will be done. You can see the bolts on the inside are all washers and a nut on each one. Like I said, I just drilled the holes a little bit bigger and they went right through, no problem. So, should wrap up that project tomorrow. And the garage door came. So I'll have to start looking through the literature on how to assemble this. There's these rails, these are the doors, there's 2 boxes, there's 2 doors in the top box and 3 in the bottom, and then they gave me a box of hardware to deal with, so that should be interesting. But they're fairly light. I mean, you know, it's a one-man job, no problem. And I was surprised. I asked the guy, I said, where are the big springs? And he said, there are no more big springs. It's just this torsion bar here, this one here. So that should be interesting. And I did manage to fix these boards up top here, cutting out for the bolts. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. Where's one? Yeah, there you go. So I just cut out around those bolts. And I'm not particularly happy with how it turned out because they tend to sag in the middle. I don't know if you can see it on camera. It's a little tough. But I guess, I mean, the only option would have been to go with a thicker plywood, which would have been a lot more expensive because it needed to be finished on one side so you get a nice smooth surface for the adhesive backing to stick to after it's painted. Or maybe I can mount like a backbone on the back of this to stiffen it up a little bit and straighten it out. I don't know, I'll have to experiment with that, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. I think for now, yeah, I'll just get the lights on. I can do that later if I want to. So, yeah, we'll just leave that as it is for the moment. Yeah, that's it for today. And tomorrow, hopefully I'll start to figure out how this has to be framed out for the garage door. I know I'm going to have to come in at least about a foot on each side and down maybe like 10 inches. So yeah, I got to get the dimensions for that right. And I'm probably going to need some longer lumber, like 12-foot long 2x6s. So I'll probably need to go into town to get those. Probably have to rig up something on the top of my Pathfinder, like a luggage rack type deal. I was thinking I'd put a 2x6 across the 2 luggage racks and then stack them on top of that. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, that's all for today. It is Friday, August 8th. Well, I'm just guessing at that. Whew. Hope I got that right. Anyway, it's almost midday because I'm not sure if I'm going to get to do an update at the end of the day. So here we go. Let's just cover a few little things. Flip it around. All right, we have the roof. The roof is on. Let's just take a quick look to the side. It's all been screwed on and caulked all around. You know, for all the work I put into this little roof, I feel like it's kind of a skinny little roof and I deserve a big hulking giant roof. But this is what I designed, this is what I built, and this is what I got. So I guess I'll live with it. Anyway, it's not too bad. It should do its job. Just shed rain off the building. And yeah, give you another angle. So there you have it. All right, I had to finish painting both sides of those pieces of aluminum. I'll tell you, the paint, this Valspar Duramax outdoor paint seems to be pretty good on wood, but not so great on aluminum. I mean, there was, I think I showed it in a previous video, there was some paint that had been put on to one of these pieces, and I used some paint stripper to get it off. And man, I had to reapply that like 4 times and scrape in between every time to get it off. But this paint, now I've done 3, almost 4 coats on this, but it seems to like just scratch off if you just rub it the wrong way. Anyway, we'll see how it lasts. I suppose it can always be repainted. Wouldn't be terrible, but it's supposed to really last, and I'm not sure that it will. Anyway, I'm going to be moving on to the garage doors now. I kind of cleared a space out here, and I'm going to be laying out on the floor how it will lay out. So I got to get my lines, you know, straight off of here, then come in an inch and a foot and a half each side, and just lay it out. And the additional complication I have with a garage door in a Quonset hut is the ceiling is so high that I need something to bolt the track to. So the door will come up, it rides on a track, comes up, bends. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this on your own garage doors. Does a little curve here, comes straight out, and then to the roof they've got some brackets that hold that track in place. Well, I don't really have that option, so I'm going to build a pier here and over here to hold that you know, that track at the back side. And I'm going to go with a wall-mounted garage door opener over here rather than the center trolley system, so I won't even have to worry about supporting that. But this pier system, there'll be a pier here and a pier here, but it's going to be part of a platform that goes sort of down the middle of the Quonset hut. So it might be about 9 feet tall, and so I'll have storage area all up here. And that it'll be dual purpose, 1 to hold the track for the garage door, and 2 for storage. So that's the plan. Not sure how far I'll get with that today, but if I do get done with some stuff, I might show it. Otherwise, this will be the wrap up for the week. Anyway, I will talk to you on the next one. Okay, Friday, August 8th, end of day. Time to do a quick update. Not too much going on, but let me just go in here, turn the lights on. 1 second. Okay, so I have been laying out the garage doors on the floor here, and that was a challenge. I originally thought, okay, well, I've got this wall going across here, right? No problem. I can do like measure 8 foot over here from that point right there, 8 foot over, and then 8 foot over this way, and then calculate the hypotenuse, and I can get a point on the floor right there. That'll give me a nice right triangle over here. And then I do the same thing over here, 8 foot, 8 foot, measure the hypotenuse, get a nice right triangle here, and I'll have a nice square layout on the floor. Well, that didn't work. I think I broke geometry. Anyway, so apparently these two walls here are not exactly in line. So I decided, okay, let me draw a line from right here at this point, or this 2x6, not this 2x4, but this 2x6 behind it, all the way to that 2x6, just right along the floor there. Let's see if you can see that, right? And then I can do my triangle trick right from there, measure 8 feet over, 8 feet up, and make sure that the hypotenuse is correct. And I'd have a nice 90-degree triangle here, here, and here. And I do the same thing over here, 8 feet, hypotenuse, right triangle here, and I should be exactly square. Well, that didn't work either. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? I was off by like maybe 7/8 of an inch. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I could see maybe a 1/4 inch, but yeah, 7/8 of an inch, something was wacky. So I ended up putting a string line from that corner of that 2x6 all the way over to that corner of that 2x6. And you can see that even though this line here on the cement looks pretty straight, right? Pretty straight from there to there, the string line shows it wasn't quite straight. So that's where I had to measure from. And let's see, that's where I had to measure from. And when I did that, using my triangle trick, it all worked out to within a 1/16 of an inch. So with that, I'm pretty happy. 1/16 of an inch, I can live with that. And then, as I mentioned before, I will need some sort of pier to screw the track to for the garage door to ride in. It's going to come up and over, and then it can't just hang out here in midair. It's got to have something to bolt to or screw to. So there will be a pier. Let's see, put this over here, right about there, straight up, and same thing on this side, about 10 feet. And what I'm going to do is I will make a platform. I'll go one here, and then come back 8 feet, do one there and one there. Just make a square platform, and then I'll put some, maybe like 2x8s all around it, and then sheathe the top. So I got some storage up here. And these posts will also act as something to bolt that track to. You'll understand. I mean, if you don't understand that, then you'll see as it develops, as I get the lumber and start framing things out. The other thing is, I've done a little back of the envelope designing here. I'm going to put a 2x8 header across here with a 2x6 on the top and a 2x6 on the bottom. That should bring me down just enough for the garage door. It's probably a half an inch more than I need, but that's okay. I'll lose a half an inch of height on the garage door, but I'm okay with that. And then there'll be a couple of jack studs here that comes a 1.5 feet out this way and a 1.5 feet out this way and up. So it'll be jack stud, jack stud, jack stud, and then one along the edge here. And I'll probably then just sheathe that with aluminum on the outside. I think I have some extra aluminum over there. Yeah, I can use that, and then I'll have to paint it. And then I watched a video on how to install the garage door. And there's a lot of parts here, but it looks fairly simple. I mean, I watched it and it looks like maybe a 1-2 day job at the most. Yeah, it's a little complicated, but yeah, I think I can handle it. At least I'm gonna try. So, all right, well, that's kind of it for this week. That's a wrap up, and over the weekend I'll be doing some framing or something, and getting this started, and then I'll see you on the next one.